This is CS952 Introduction to Web Technologies and Design. And I've been looking at my home page, and it occurs to me that the home page does not work quite like I would expect it to. I've got these nice large icons for gallery and history and media, and I would think that if I clicked on the gallery icon it would take me to the gallery page, but that doesn't happen. These are not hyperlinks. I think they should be hyperlinks. Clicking on the history icon should take me straight to the history page. So how do I make this happen? Let's go to Dreamweaver, and you may recall that when we work with Glyphicons, they're a little bit different than working with some of the other HTML elements we've used. So I'm in live view, and I like to go to split view. Split view is nice because it lets me see the code and see what I'm selecting at the same time, see what I'm working on. And I'm going to scroll on down, and I'm going to get started with my gallery. So let's click right on the gallery icon. When I do that, here in code view I can see that it's highlighting the span that is my Glyphicon. Right here it is. So I'm going to click on span in my status bar. It's important that we have all of that code highlighted in the code section. That nice dark blue color that lets us know that all that code has been selected for editing. Then I'm going to go to Insert, and how do I turn this into a hyperlink? Go to HTML and select Hyperlink. So a dialog box opens. Here is the text that we're going to be linking to. Dreamweaver has plugged in the text that we had highlighted. What are we going to link it to? I'm going to use my folder here, and I'm going to click on my Browse folder, and I want to link it to my gallery page. Target, we'll leave that alone, straight to the gallery page. And then for title, I'm going to go ahead and type in gallery, and I'm good. Let's say OK. Now notice that it turned the icon blue, which is correct because now it's a hyperlink. I don't think we want that blue color, but let's take one thing at a time. Let's go down and select next the book that is our history icon. Now I'm going to click in my code window, and I want to make sure that I click on span here in the status bar so that all that code is selected. Again, now this is for my history page. I'm going to go to Insert, I'm going to go to HTML, I will select Hyperlink, and for my link I'm going to choose History. There we go. I'm going to say OK. We will not add a target, but we will add a title of History, H-I-S-T-O-R-Y. That's my title. We got one more to go. And again, that turned blue, and that's going to be media. So I'm going to click on the Glyphicon for media. And it's real important that, notice how the code that we've selected is grayed out. So Dreamweaver is showing us, oh hey, this code that you just selected up in live view, well this is that same code when you're viewing it in code view, but we are not actually editing that code yet. We need to see that dark blue color to know that we're editing it. So I could select it and then click into my edit window, but the way to make sure that I have this code selected is to click in my status bar on that span so we get that nice dark blue color. Otherwise this won't work. You need to make sure you have that nice dark blue color that indicates that this code has been selected for editing. I'm going to go to Insert, HTML, again choose Hyperlink. And for this last one, this is our media page, right? Media. So I'm going to be linking to our media.html file. There it is. Media.html. Notice all these file names are all in all lowercase letters. That bulletproofs how these are going to be working on our remote server. I'm going to say OK. For the title, it's media, M-E-D-I-A, and I'm going to say OK. Now let's tackle the other issue. When we turned these Glyphicons into hyperlinks, the color went from the regular white that we'd assigned to it to this blue color, which is correct because we're treating these Glyphicons as if they were text. They're not being treated as if they're special images, but if they're just like plain old text. And when we highlighted the text, the humble pencil, to turn that into a link, that also turned blue. Right up here, see where it says the humble pencil? This is also a hyperlink, and it also turned the text blue. Wasn't so much of an issue when it was just the text, but For these Glyphicons, it looks a little weird. So let's create a new CSS selector that says if something's an anchor and it is a member of the class Glyphicon, leave it white, or turn it white, rather than using that default color of blue. So we have an anchor, and inside that anchor is the class of Glyphicon. So let's add in our CSS selector. So I'm going to go to CSS Designer. I want to make sure that under my sources I have styles selected. That's the file that has all the specialized rules for my site. I'm going to have global selected because we want this rule to work regardless of whether you're using extra small, small, medium, or large. Remember, those are our 4 different viewing sizes on the Bootstrap 3 framework. Then we have our selectors. We need to create a selector. Now if I click on the plus sign, Dreamweaver, as always, does its best to come up with the appropriate selector for what we've been currently working with. And what we have is, it says, as we read from the left to the right, something that's a member of the class of column medium 4, it's an anchor, it's a Glyphicon, and it's also a Glyphicon film. Well, that's way more specific than what we need. Certainly, it's got to be an anchor, and it also has to be a Glyphicon. So let's create a rule that just targets anchors that are a member of the class Glyphicon. So we're going to start with the anchor part. Anchor is a fundamental HTML tag. And fundamental HTML tags, when we create a selector for them, we just put in the name of the tag. So when we created a selector for the H1 tag, we just typed in H1. When we created a selector for the H2 tag, simply typed in H2. So to create a selector for the A or anchor tag, just type the letter A. I'm going to type A on the keyboard, and we've got that. Now this is a compound selector, so we've got a couple different parts. It's going to be an anchor, and it's going to be a member of a certain class. So I need to hit the space bar on the keyboard so that when the web browser looks at this rule, it sees it's just not one long word, but it sees that there are different parts. And the space bar is what we use to separate the different names that make up the total compound name for the selector. So I'm going to hit space bar. Now I need to say the class. Okay, it's going to be, we're targeting anchors, but only anchors that are members of the class Glyphicon. So I start with a period because we always start selector rules for classes with a period. If it's going to be an ID, it's a pound sign. If it's just a tag, just straight type out the tag. So in this case, I'm going to type the period, and as soon as I do that, then Dreamweaver tries to fill in, here are your possible classes. Glyphicon is what I'm looking for. So I'm just going to type in GL, and look at that. Went ahead and started to fill in all of my different Glyphicon classes, but I want to just simply target Glyphicons. I don't want to get any more specific than this, so I can hit enter on the keyboard. Now I'm going to hit enter one more time because Dreamweaver's thinking, are you done here, or do you want to add more specifications to this rule? No, I'm done. Now I can hit enter one more time, and now I've got my rule. So this selector will target anchors that are also members of the class Glyphicon. And that's exactly what we have right here, because we have an anchor, and inside of that we have a span, which is a class of Glyphicon. What do we want to do? We want that text to be white. So I click on my text shortcut. I click where it says color. I choose white. I saved this earlier with from my palette colors. I hit enter, and we're done. All set. I'm going to preview this in Chrome. When I go to choose preview, we're going to have to save 2 files. Obviously, index.html, that's the file we've been working on. We can see an asterisk next to index.html, but also we wrote a new style rule in our styles.css file. So when I choose, I'm going to go straight to my shortcut preview in Chrome. I'm asked, do you want to save the changes to index.html? Yes. Then I get this familiar message, some files needed to accurately preview this page have been modified but not saved. Save them now, and of course they're talking about styles.css because that's the only file that we have up here in our list of related files that has an asterisk next to it, meaning it has unsaved changes. So I'm going to say yes. And here we go. Here is our home page, and now when I click on gallery, it takes me straight to my gallery page, right? If I click on history, straight to the history page, and if I click on media, straight to the media page. Okay, that was the last little bit that I wanted to do on the home page to kind of tie everything up and make sure it was working like I think that the home page should work.